Heaven does not grant people a second chance, opportunities do not linger indefinitely, one's talents cannot excel in two tasks simultaneously, the key to success lies in seizing the right moment. Flowing water does not rot, and a constantly rotating door hinge does not decay. Not knowing yet overconfident about it, this is the source of countless calamities. Perfection will inevitably reveal flaws, reaching an extreme will invariably lead to the opposite, and excessive abundance will inevitably result in loss. Words come easily, but actions are difficult. Draining a pond of fish, wouldn't one obtain a gain? Yet the following year, there will be no fish. Setting fire to a forest to cultivate, wouldn't one obtain gains? Yet the following year, there will be no animals. Diligent learner borrows the strengths of others to compensate for their own weaknesses. When people are self-righteous, yet slander on opposition voice. A fish that swallows a boat, but on land it cannot overpower ants. Seek it at its source, and for a period of time you shall obtain it. Seek it at its end, and you will toil in vain. When experiencing pleasure one tends to indulge excessively, when facing adversity one tends to advocate for righteousness. This is human nature. To surpass others, one must first conquer oneself. To criticize others, one must first examine oneself. To understand others, one must first know oneself. Like the sweet dew and timely rain, impartial to any particular thing, as the ruler of the myriad people, not favoring any individual. Biased views blind the eyes, biased listening deafens the ears, biased concerns drive the heart into madness. Receiving words should not let it without examination. The distortion of truth through frequent transmission turns black into white, white into black. Those who truly follow the Tao, happy when they are poor, happy when they are prosper too, for their happiness does not depend on wealth or status. By observing oneself one can understand others, by observing the present one can comprehend the past. Facing east one cannot see the western wall, looking from the south, one cannot see the northern direction. The foundation of all matters lies in self-discipline. A true gentleman relies on oneself rather than relying on others. No defeat is greater than a lack of self-awareness. Similarities attract, harmonious energies unite, and comparable sounds echo. Some words may seem wrong, but they are actually right. Some words may seem right, but they are actually wrong. The boundary between correctness and error must be clearly distinguished. To wants to know if it's straight, one must rely on a plumb line. To understand what is square or round, one must rely on a ruler. Extreme words breed anger, and anger endangers the speaker. Obtaining 10 fine horses is not as good as finding one bolu. Obtaining 10 fine swords is not as good as finding one oyi. obtaining 1,000 miles of land is not as good as finding one sage. Voice usually, produced from the heart of a human. The utmost length turns into shortness, the utmost shortness turns into length, such is the way of heaven. To know that one does not know is the highest level. The problem of those who go astray is not knowing yet thinking they know. Ruler onto source is of utmost value. Those who achieve the utmost value are invincible. A foot-long piece of wood will have layers, an inch-long piece of jade will have flaws in the right places. Using a measuring line and ink to cut wood will not result in a completed palace. The greatest achievement for those who possess knowledge is self-improvement, and the pinnacle of self-improvement is learning. Those who burden themselves with excessive responsibilities will be fatigued, while those who entrust tasks to others will find ease. When the world is in great chaos, there is no place for a secure country. When a country is in complete turmoil, there is no place for a secure home. When a home is in complete disarray, there is no place for personal security. In a well, there are no large fish. In a young forest, there are no tall trees. To be rich and prosperous without knowledge is enough to bring trouble. It is rather better to poor. The more precise one's knowledge, the more precise their choices. The more superficial one's knowledge, the more superficial their choices. Managing oneself and managing a country are both principles of the same art. Only by understanding the essence of life and its principles can one naturally embody benevolence and righteousness. Physical strength values lies on suddenness, while intelligence values lies on agility. When two forces are equal, the quicker one rises to the top. When two victories are achieved in the same way, the later one becomes less significant. A noble person follows the path of virtue to cultivate moral character. Through upright character, joy is brought forth. Through harmonious joy, harmony is achieved. Between the virtuous and the unworthy, there must be a clear distinction, just as fate cannot be altered, and as beauty and ugliness cannot be interchanged. It is comparable to water and fire. If utilized skillfully, it brings blessings, but if unable to be used properly, it becomes a calamity. When a country prospers, it is endowed with wise individuals and outspoken critics. When a country declines, it is burdened with chaotic individuals and flattering sycophants. A noble person comprehends the boundaries between life and death, thoroughly understanding their significance. Thus, they cannot be deceived by considerations of personal gain or loss. A country without laws falls into chaos. If laws are upheld without flexibility, it leads to rebellion. Rebellion and chaos cannot sustain a country. The devastation of death and destruction does not come on its own, it is enticed and summoned. Judge based on the reality and examine the name. To seek the truth, listen to words and observe their nature, without allowing any deviation from the truth.